BlogTalk Radio.
Hello, everyone. This is Chrism, and I'd like to welcome you to this program about your Kundalini awakening experiences. My co-host is having a little bit of a problem coming into the studio. You know, it's a beautiful night in Ireland, and, you know, walking on the beach or walking and talking with the leprechauns and elves and fairies and all the amazing things that happen in Ireland. And you think I'm joking. You think I'm joking, but, you know, I don't think people created those things. I think those things are absolute creations on their own. And anyway, so I hope that she can get on. And we'll just go ahead and begin. And I want to talk about some of the amazing synchronicities that can happen with the Kundalini, and how you can really kind of affirm for yourself how things are going with you and what is planting ideas into your head, and how you're able to get validation for those ideas that they're coming from Kundalini, not from, you know, some subconscious desire or some other source or vector of creativity. And one of these I want to relate, but I have to ask permission here, and I'm going to have to ask permission of Matthew Collins. Mr. Matt, Del Solananda, if you can let me know if it's okay if I read your post to the Kundalini Awakened exclamation point group, and he's saying yes. So I'm going to go ahead and read that, and I think it's very important for people to kind of listen and understand, you know, how these so-called, I will call them so-called synchronicities, because you have to understand that Kundalini is within you all the time. She's within you all the time. She knows what you're saying. She knows what I'm saying right now. Hide from your blood, right? You can't hide from your intestines. You can't hide from that which is within you. So this is a good opportunity to show some of the ways that Kundalini manifests in your life. And so this is from Michael Del Sol, and this is the update from the 2017 Minnesota Kundalini Seminar. The Kundalini seminars with Chris Mitchell allow for personal growth even well after the conclusion of the seminar. At the 2017 seminar, I believe it was in September, it became clear that I was to teach personal strategic life planning to the inmates at the jail in my city. To prepare to teach that course at the jail, I wrote a book that will be available on Amazon in a few weeks. Now, this is where the story gets really good. Just weeks away from publication of the book, I went to a meeting at the jail to discuss my plan to teach the inmates. The officer who is in charge of the program and I have the same last name. That officer with my same last name has been reading up on the Kundalini and has been practicing the 5 Tibetans on his own each morning. And as many of us will know on this program, the 5 Tibetans is one of the Kundalini awakening safety protocols. The officer had never met anyone in real life who practiced the 5 Tibetans as well. What are the chances? He was glad to meet me, and I am. Today, I remain open to the miracles that the Kundalini unfolds. And if you get a chance to go to the upcoming Colorado seminar this weekend, by the way, by all means go. You are worth that and much more. Thanks be to Kundalini, and this is so true. This is so true, and I want to thank Michael Del Sol for posting that. And the sound looks, oh, good. People are, oh, I think I may have lost the chat room here. But it looks like people are able to hear. Let's see in a second. It looks like I have some callers too. Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay. So yeah, this is what happened to Michael Del Sol as he was planning on doing that excellent level of service for the inmates at the local jail in his city. And it looks like Pandananda is saying the sound is good, and Matthew Collins, the sound is good. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very, very much. Because I have yet to see Santara able to log on yet. She has to come in through Skype, and they give you the Skype option here at the BlogTalk. I get a direct connect because I'm in the States, and BlogTalk is located in New York, and so I can just do a different type of a connection, but she's got to go through Skype, and so we'll see if Skype is going to be available for her today, coming in from Ireland. But these kinds of miracles, as Michael called them, these kinds of expressions, and I'm going to actually ask, because I want to ask Matt, can you call in? Can you call in, Matt? The phone number is 347-934-0026. And we're going to have Michael Del Sol call in and describe to everyone here what exactly happened, and what was his experience at the Minnesota seminar, what is his experience with the Kundalini in general. I haven't had a guest on in a while, and so it'd be nice to have him call in if he can do that. And it looks like he is going to be doing that. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is Mr. Matt, a.k.a. Michael Del Sol. And hello?
Hello, Chrism.
What do I call you?
Oh, there are many names.
All of them good. All of them good.
Yes. Yes. Oh, goodness. Well, what happened was that in Minnesota, Chrism was teaching about service and the relationship of the performance of service with the correlation with the Kundalini within the body, and the service is correlated with it. That was my understanding of the lesson, is that we were talking about how service can help with Kundalini activation and that type of thing. So we decided, many of us, that we were going to do service projects in our communities when we returned home from the seminar. I decided I wanted to teach strategic planning within the jail to the inmates, and that just really landed on me at the seminar. It just hit me. I was not able to let go of it. Yes.
Let me stop you there. What
Sure.
is your background? What is your background?
My background is in law enforcement. I was in the military before then, and then I earned a bachelor's, a master's, and a PhD at Virginia Tech after the military.
So you have law enforcement experience. I mean, you have actually taken people to jail, right?
Yeah, of course. Yes, I started as a corrections officer.
Isn't that how we met? Didn't you just find me in the gutter in Miami and just kind of threw me in jail?
No, you found me in the gutter. I was in the gutter. I had quit my job and I was homeless. I was living with my mom. I was having Kundalini psychosis issues, and I found you online. Yeah. That's what happened. I was in the gutter.
So you have connections with law enforcement, so you
yes.
literally.
Well, I run a program right now. Even currently, I'm involved with law enforcement quite a bit because my job as a college professor, I oversee a bachelor's program in public safety, which is comprised mostly of police officers and firefighters, and I oversee an academy, a police academy and a fire academy. So in that way, I'm still very much interacting with those folks. And the advances in the police academy in the last few years have just been incredible in terms of de-escalation techniques and the introduction of meditation and yoga and other stress-relieving types of activities. And those things are taught now where they were never taught when I went to the academy. And these are skills that police officers really, really need in this day and age.
And as they do more and more of those practices, more and more of those firefighters, police officers are going to be coming into the Kundalini, and they're going to need someone like you to help them on their path. You realize that, right?
Well, it seems to be falling into place that way. When I went to the jail today, so I had my meeting. I worked on a book, by the way, for the last 4 or 5 months after the seminar, I worked every day as much as I could. And I tried to write 500 words a day. For those of you out there that want to write a book, you can do this. It's just a matter of setting a word count. Sit down and say you're going to do 300 words a day or whatever you decide, but hold yourself to that, and you'll be amazed at how quickly the pages will accumulate and pile up. So I did that. I said, I need to have some content if I want to teach in the jails. I want to have a book explaining what I want to teach, and then I'll just donate the book to the inmates. And that was my plan. So that's how it all came about.
Call it jail cell Kundalini.
Yeah, it was interesting. So I get to the meeting today to talk to the officer who's in charge of programs, and we start talking about meditation, and he starts asking about the pineal gland. He's asking some interesting questions where I see he's done some esoteric reading is what I'm thinking in my mind. And then he starts talking about the 5 Tibetans. And then I open up the book because at the end of each chapter of the book I've written, I encourage people to perform the 5 Tibetans and to do research on them. And I take them up. By the last chapter, they're doing 21 of repetitions. And at the end of the first chapter, only 3. So as each chapter unfolds, they do more repetitions of the 5 Tibetans. When he saw that in the book manuscript that I had written that, and he was already doing them in the morning, he thought he was the only one, and we're living here just a few miles apart. It was incredible when we met each other. And having the same last name, there were so many commonalities, really, Chris. I mean, beyond what I could say is coincidence. I believe that Kunalini wanted me to go there, and they wanted me to meet him. That's the way it feels. Have you experienced something like that, where you felt that Kunalini wants you to be in a certain place and to meet someone like that in particular?
Yeah, I've had many experiences like that. I just had to get up to quiet the dogs down.
Yeah. That's okay. No, I'm sure you have, but this just stands out in my mind as saying, I think the Kunalini was telling me at the seminar that I needed to work on this book for obvious reasons. I think the book is going to be helpful for my classes and for other things. It was helpful for me to write it down, to help me internalize a lot of the lessons that I wrote down. And so it's been a good project and a good process. And then just meeting him, I knew when I first saw him today, and I looked at his shirt and it said Collins. I said, my last name is Collins. And then I just felt this oneness with him where I felt like we were just on the same page, literally. And
you guys
it was a very
are brothers.
Connection. Yes.
Kundalini brothers.
Yes. But it's so interesting that he went through a lot of the same things I did a few years ago. He's had a lot of spiritual experiences the last few years and changed his eating up, and he's done a lot of the different things that I've gone through. So there's some parallels. And the fact that he even had understood what the Kunalini was, and he had an understanding of the 5 Tibetans, I thought that was amazing, because I never meet people randomly that know those things. It just doesn't happen in my life very often.
Well, it isn't. It's not a common thing, but this has the potential to really change in a very positive way the way law enforcement operates, and possibly even to change some of the SOPs with how officers relate with the public, like you said, de-escalation techniques, and of course how they treat
Absolutely.
the prisoners within the jail cell. I mean,
yes.
This has some very, very excellent potential for positive
I
changes to be given into the world. I want to just say congratulations to you, Mr. Collins, for putting this out there. Though I mean, yeah, you had to get up in the morning that day. You had to fly to Minnesota. You had to sit through, that seminar with people looking at other people and going, "Oh, you have a wolf over your shoulder," and "Oh, there's." You had to do the interesting male, sacred feminine dance, and all of that stuff. You had to do it. You had to do it. So I give you full credit.
I'm going to Germany. I've signed up for round 2, Chrism.
Round 2. Oh my God. Well, I want to welcome Santara into the conversation. She finally was able to get through. And hi, Santara.
Oh, hi, Chrism.
Hi.
I want to welcome Santara in.
I had to turn you off Facebook. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, let me go.
Okay. Right,
okay.
Go.
Mike,
good to hear your voice.
Is there a big echo for you, Mr. Collins?
No, I can hear both of you. I just want to tell Santara it's good to hear her voice, and I'll see her in Germany very soon.
Yay!
I'm so looking forward to it. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait to walk through the streets of Germany with Chrism and Santara and just have the experience of being around both of you out there.
It's really
such a wonderful environment.
I mean, the way it went last time in Germany. Germany was amazing. Oh wow, yeah, definitely. And like you say, walking around with other Kundalini people, it's a beautiful experience. Really, it is.
It's just fun. It's the most enjoyable thing. It really does. I live between seminars now. I did a lot between this last seminar, but my goal is to go to a couple of seminars a year to set new projects. And once I go to a seminar, it seems like everything takes off from there. It's a point to drive forward and a milestone each year to look forward to. So I've really enjoyed this year. It's been a wonderful year of growth, and I've enjoyed being with both of you and doing the things that we do.
Well, it's an honor. It is definitely an honor, and I can foresee you giving seminars. Certainly to law enforcement and firefighters. Going deep into this subject matter.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I don't have the background.
Really working there.
Right. Yeah, the SOPs, the standard operating procedures, SOPs for short.
Yeah.
You know the SOPs. You've done the job. You've got the grounding in exactly what it is they're doing. Saving lives.
I feel like that's part of my calling. I really think it is, working with police officers to de-escalate and to understand how to treat the citizenry in ways that are respectable. And I think that's part of my calling in life is to work with law enforcement officers and work with other men. I really enjoy working with other men and sharing some of the things I've learned, and it's very meaningful.
Well, and I think that carries over into the military people as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
People coming back from active duty and, yeah. And,
absolutely. So, it's just amazing. It's so great to hear you guys. I don't have class tonight, obviously. That's why I'm here. We don't have class this week. So typically I teach on Wednesday.
I don't know.
But, yeah.
I don't know if Santara could hear what we were talking about, and just to bring her up to speed. We were talking about the interesting synchronicity that Kundalini provided for Michael Collins. Still not quite sure what to call him. Well, the only reason we, ladies and gentlemen, people have professional lives. And, Del Solananda has a professional life as, and he's working with public institutions and Mr. Collins is working with law enforcement and public government supported agencies. And if you get some malignant person going, oh my God, he was on this radio show and he was talking about Kundalini, and they worship the snake and they have sex with everybody,
It's so true, though. You really have to limit your social media footprint in my area. And keep in mind, I teach online at a lot of universities, too. So, at any time, I have 300 or 400 students that I'm teaching online across the board at various universities. And a lot of those folks, they want to look you up, they want to become friends. So I try to limit the social media footprint quite a bit. And then Michael Del Sol, the reason I like that name is just because that's what came to me in the beginning back in 2011. I kept feeling that name and thinking Del Sol and just wanting to be that. So it took on significance early on for some reason. It left an imprint.
Is that your nom de guerre for the author as well, or are you using a different name?
Not you, Matthew Collins, for the book, but that's the first name that I told you back in 2012 when we first met, because you were calling me that on one of the videos that we made at the beach. So it's been with me since the very beginning, and it's just a name that I'm very fond of, a Michael of the Sun. I like it. And same with Santara's name. I like saying it. I like thinking it. Those names they're very Kundalini to me.
Santara's name was very special, too. That came through very interestingly. It has to do with Ireland as well. The Tara aspect of it has to do with Ireland.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that, your name, and what it actually means within the ancient Irish language?
Oh, me?
Santara?
Yes, of course I can. Yeah, sure. There's a few reasons for the name. Tara is the place of the High Kings in Ireland where they were crowned, and it's also a very, very ancient place of druids and worship and god and goddesses. And it's probably the most ancient place in Ireland of long, long ago that we're aware of, So there was a lot of ceremonies done there, and it's just very Kundalini, really. It's a very Kundalini place and a very sacred place. And then there's the Tara connection to the various Indian Taras, and then the sun and the divine sun, the interior sun, Sol of the Kundalini. and there was a few other reasons for it as well. But the Tara connection, people sometimes think that that's the Indian. A lot of Indian people think I'm Indian because of that, but it's actually the connection as well, very much possibly, first of all, to Ireland and ancient Ireland. Pre-Christian Ireland, you know.
Yeah, it came together quite nicely, I thought. It's an awesome name. And so is Michael Del Sol as well. And I remember that. I remember, Del Sol, of the Son. And that, even from a Christian context, that's of the Son. That would be of the Son of God, or as the Christian people think, of the Son of God, which is Jesus. So of the Son. So of the fire of Christ, And so that fits a little easier, I think, into the South.
And that's another thing.
It's another lovely aspect that I enjoy as well. It's really nice, Isn't it, Michael?
Yes, it's beautiful. It's really nice.
It is beautiful.
I love it. I met this gentleman today. I went to the jail center today to work on the group that I'm going to be teaching there, the strategic planning course for the inmates. And like I was telling Chrism, and I put in the group, the gentleman I met today was just amazing. He's already reading about the Kundalini on his own independently, he and his wife, and they're practicing the 5 Tibetans. And I thought, how unusual, especially in the South in the United States. We call it the dirty South for a reason. There's not much going here in terms of a lot of reading and spiritual work sometimes, So to meet him and for us both to have the same last name of Collins, and we had so many similarities, and just we were doing the same types of things, and I really feel like it was something bigger than I can ever really explain. I really thought I was destined to meet him.
Michael.
Yeah.
It's like amazing, isn't it? I mean, that's incredible, and that is an affirmation, isn't it, of so many aspects of what you're doing, and the Kundalini. I think that's incredible. I love that sort of thing. It's amazing, and it's wonderful that you've told people that, because it's not
I couldn't hold it in. I wrote that in the car. Literally, I went to my car and I was sitting outside before I even went anywhere. I just typed that in and just put the picture up. I said, I can't believe this just happened. And it seems like sometimes the Kunalini will provide that for me, because even these days can get a little bit lazy sometimes with it. And I think, well, it is what it is, and it's just that. Then something like that happens, and it just shakes my world up, and I get reminded of, holy crap, this is real, and this is exciting, and this is the most wonderful thing that could be happening to a human being. You get that wake-up reminder, because I tend to forget sometimes. I just get to the point where I'm, this is just how it is now. But then you see things like this, and you're like, oh, it's amazing. But it perks you back up and makes you wake up.
It does, because, Michael, things can become very normal too, can't they? In inverted commas, normal. Like we acclimate to the extraordinary, and I think then, like, something like that happens, and it's boom, it suddenly, as you say, invigorates you, opens you up again to the beauty and the amazing gift that we've been given, and it's like, hello.
It's so true. It's so
true.
Yeah. It's amazing when that happens, and then I feel like I get on these little highs. Like something like that will happen, then I get so motivated, I get so pumped up about it. I get on these little highs, and then you're right. It goes back to equilibrium. I say this is the new normal, but the new normal always changes. I mean, whenever I get very comfortable with my Kundalini, what's happening right now, that's when I know things are going to change. That's my sign. So it's good. I mean, it lets me rest for a minute, but it always wants me to move forward.
Forward, yeah. I think the only guarantee with Kundalini is that there's change. Nothing really stays the same. Yeah, well, Michael, it's wonderful.
Yes, it's been a good day today. I'm just really enjoying it. I just feel so happy to talk to you guys. I'm thinking about our Germany trip, and it's just going to be so much fun being there and being around everyone and hearing the words of Chrism while we're there. It's such a beautiful place.
I'm looking forward to it as well, very, very much. And it'd be lovely to meet you again, Michael.
Of it. Yes, I'm looking at pictures online of it. Each night on Google, I'm looking at Google Maps and just saying, how far is this? Where is this? It's exciting to think about.
Cool.
Great. All right.
Okay, is Chrism left? Are the dogs okay, Chrism? Chrism! Michael, this is where I start saying, I think Chrism has gone to the bathroom. my revenge.
Okay. No worries. I'm just here.
So you were
I'm just
saying,
loving
I'm
it.
assuming you were encouraging people as well, I'm assuming, to go to the seminar in Colorado
Yes.
because doesn't it make an amazing difference to a person when they go? I mean, it opens up just a wonderful pathway and connections to your own process. And as you said at some point there about what it is that the Kundalini is guiding you to. I mean, we hear so much through what Chrism says, don't we? I mean, have you been to another seminar before? Was this your... No, you've been to
No, that was my
seminars.
very first. This will be my second. So I
yay.
I mean, it's just great. I mean, the first one was big for me. I made a lot of progress after that first one, but there was also a time of turmoil, though. I will admit that the first 2 or 3 weeks when I left the seminar, I was spinning a little bit in the head, and I was having to say, okay, this is new for me. These are new challenges, but the challenges are why I went there. I wanted to grow. That's why I went. So it's great, and really, I think one trip with Chris, I mean, you can spend 6 months or a year just working on what you've learned every day and just refine that to a level where you will change after a seminar for sure, because I know I did.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Michael, and I think people don't realize that until they come, and they're saying, come if you can, if you feel any call, do whatever it takes to get to the place, and I posted something there recently about if you're living near Colorado, it's going to be easier for you to get there than if you were living, we'll say, in the, where other people are living far, far away. So get there, make the effort, because what you're actually given, it can't be expressed until you experience it. And, Michael, what will be fun will be this time when you go for the second time, some of the stuff will be the same, the content will be the same, but it's so different every time because we're in a different place every time and the group is different, and it's quite miraculous because I've been to quite a few of them, and every single one of them gifts of grace, amazing to me.
Yes, I agree. I hear Chrism.
It's a very...
Did that work out okay?
I had to take the girls out back, and Anara came up to me. She comes up to me, and she gives me a very special look, and I know that I have to run and get her outside. So I muted myself, and I ran back and let them out back. So I'll have to do that again to let them back in.
For the tap dancing.
Yes, thanks both. I could hear you. I could hear everything that was being said. So
good.
So
good.
As far as the seminars go, because there isn't a script, except the general outlines of Kunalini, it's different every single time, and not all of them go as well as I would like. I mean, I think there was. I think, Amelia, you came to one here in Santa Rosa that was just very strange. The people were late. I mean, the only people who were coming, and they were like 2 hours later. Remember that?
Of course I do. Yeah. We've had some interesting ones, for sure, and they're all different.
Yeah.
But every single one of them, okay, there have been the strange ones. But still good, Chrism. People learned stuff at them, and we're glad they came, I'm sure.
Well, I look forward, Michael Del Sol, to having one in where you live in Florida. I love Florida, and I really enjoy doing the videos there in Florida. Yeah. I was doing them around the Fort Myers area, and you're on the east coast of Florida, right?
I am. I'm in Jacksonville Beach, so I'm right beneath Georgia. So if
right.
you go 15 miles north,
all the
I'm
alligators
in Georgia.
In here.
Well,
that's where all the alligators
all over
are.
Florida. If you see water in Florida, there could be an alligator. Seriously, I'm not playing.
Wow.
I know. This is like you never stand next to a river or a lake, right?
Well, you and I would be okay, but little kids get snatched up. There was one who was eaten at Disney this past year. And usually they're little, they're toddlers. They're the ones who really are prone to disappear.
Oh, my gosh.
The alligators can sense our height, and they can sense who we are and then how big we are. But the little kids, they will take them.
Oh my
Wow,
goodness.
what a horrible
We
thing.
won't be having any water activities then in Florida anymore.
No, we'll be fine. I mean, I go in the water all the time. I have a paddle board, and you stand up on the paddle board, and you have a paddle on the side, and you've seen people doing that before. And I take those out into those waters all the time. If you see an alligator, 9 out of 10 times, they just scurry away from you. They're very timid, really, around us. It's very unusual when you hear about
you, Michael.
That so has not been my experience with the alligators in Florida. If I take one step towards that stream, their heads come up, and if I take another step, they're in the water. They're looking. They're coming right at you.
I've been
That's over down there in Alligator Alley.
Well, it's like polar bears. I don't know anything about polar bears, but I've lived in Florida long enough. I know a lot about alligators. I've been around them, So it's one of those things. I'm more afraid of polar bears. I know nothing about them, and they might just tackle me and eat me or something. They're bigger. So it's all about familiarity.
Michael, it would be wonderful if you were. It would be wonderful if
and now you have
organized one
pythons.
in Florida.
Yeah,
now you have
pythons.
pythons.
We do have
to
pythons
deal with.
in Florida. Well, what happens is people let their pets out. So let's say this. Say I have a son, I buy him a python in Florida, and then the python starts to outgrow the tank. And what happens is people, they just let them out in the woods here in Florida and in the swamps. And so we have a huge python problem in Central Florida where we have 20 and 30-foot pythons out there that have just been released as pets that were just growing too big. It's a huge problem.
Eat children. They eat children,
a problem here. I don't know about
especially
that.
Irish
I'm
children.
They could. They could, definitely.
20 or 30
the other white
feet
meat.
long? Oh,
my
God.
Children.
The other white meat.
Oh, wow.
It's horrible. But it is an issue.
I'm sorry.
We have giant pythons just roaming the swamps. And I mean, people actually, this is how silly Florida is. As Florida, they will get permits to hunt anything. So nowadays, guys can go to the local government and you can put in a petition to get a hunting permit for pythons. You get two pythons this year, right?
Yeah, anything.
Go and hunt them.
Just shoot
they sell them and eat them.
Okay, so no swamp work, no water work.
I just want to say that really, if you can make it to a seminar like Mohan is having here in Denver, Colorado,
yes,
really do. It can really positively accentuate and begin a Kundalini program. I know that for Rosemary, hers kind of began in that setting. She didn't know anything about the Kundalini. She was a nun for 25 years, a Catholic nun, or as they say, she was in the sisterhood. And once she did one seminar, and she hasn't looked back. I always kid her about wearing a habit to one of the seminars. So far, she hasn't agreed to that. Oh well. If we go to the chat room here, we see that I have a feeling this talk playing now on the radio show is recorded a long time ago by his Kunalini, and that the real Chrism is somewhere else now. And Victor asked, "Hi, is Chrism a real person?" And he's not. My name is George Hankey, and I am doing the voiceover for Chrism this day, and we have other people doing the voiceover for Chrism. He's just a symbol, ladies and gentlemen. He's not real. He's different people provide his voice, the voiceovers. Mel Fox, before he died, started it all. Porky Pig and Donald Duck, and and so the call-ins are real, though. The callers are real, so you want to pay attention to the callers. But the guy that you're calling Chrism, he's what do they call it? He's a digital personality. And I don't mean fingers, I don't mean like a digital search. I mean, digital as in the computer. So because we're speaking to law enforcement here, and digital means different things than law enforcement.
Those are good guys, man. 99 out of 100 of those guys are good guys. Telling you.
I agree. I totally agree. But
they're mostly good guys.
Digital means something different, doesn't it?
It does. We're not talking lewd and lascivious behavior with the digits,
yeah, we could hope.
Hey, I think Rosemary was actually married to a police officer. Wasn't her husband that she married before he passed? Was he a police officer? I heard that. Somebody in Minnesota told me that.
Rosemary's husband? Yes.
That was Rosemary's husband.
I heard good things about him. Yeah. And he was also the one who built the octagonal house. I mean, who could have built that? That's the mind of a cool guy right there. I love that home. Just that octagonal home.
I totally agree. I agree. Oh my God! So
if he designed that place.
So Michael, since we have you online here. Can you give the people a little bit of an idea of how the Kundalini activated in you and what happened to you as that initial activation started to transform you?
Yeah, I'll give the short version. I was in my 20s, and I was having a lot of energy in my feet. I remember being in my young 20s, and I was in the military, and I was not feeling well some of the time. I was having a lot of what I call beehive energy in my feet. It feels like a beehive's on the bottom of each foot and surrounding the ankle.
So this was like 5 years ago, right? Five years ago.
This originally in my 20s. So originally this was in 1994 when this first started. So what happened was I'm in the military. I'm doing these other things, and I'm having these experiences. I'm feeling this energy in my body, and I'm having to run at night. And I remember thinking I need to move the energy in my body. So I went, to the doctors, and I said, "Listen, I'm feeling this, and I don't feel well." I'm yelling at my wife. I put a hole in the wall of my fist. These things that are happening. I'm having rage. I'm feeling out of my mind. I was describing a little Kunalini psychosis to the MDs, and they said, "We've got something for you. We have psychotropic drugs." That's what they had for me. And so, at that time, I was still looking to the experts for advice. I said, I need external advice because I'm just a lowly human being. These MDs, they have fancy ideas and degrees, and they know more than I do, so they can tell me more about me than I'll ever know. That's the way I thought back then. So I took their medicines for 15 years, and it never got better. I would go back every year when I have checkups and say, I don't feel better, and they would just give me more medicine, and they kept piling it on and piling on. And finally, I was coming up on 40, and I was taking so much medicine. I was 270 pounds. I was real out of shape and out of my mind.
And you're like what?
Well.
You're like 5'3" tall, right? I mean,
no, I'm like 5'11", 5'10", somewhere in there. But I was like really, really overweight, and I was because the medicines. One of the side effects of all the psychotropic drugs was putting on a lot of weight. So something happened around 2011 December timeframe, and I said I'm not taking these medicines anymore. And I said if it kills me, it kills me. So I stopped taking them. And then shortly thereafter, within a few weeks, I was experiencing Krias. But at the time, I thought they were seizures from the medicine's withdrawal. But I'm convinced now they were Krias. And I had about a year and a half or 2 years where I lived with my mom. And during that time, in my story in my head, the narrative was I am coming off these medicines and I'm having to repair my body and my brain. I didn't really even think about Kunalini for the first year, but I had that same energy in my feet that started coming up my legs. And by the time it made it into my low legs and my low back, I started getting huge golf ball sized knots in my back and all the way up. And then wherever the energy was, I'd have these huge knots. And I remember just laying on the floor on a golf ball and trying to roll that golf ball into my back and just tried to get these knots to just dissipate and go away a little bit. And then at one point, it was about 2 years into it, I was still having some problems, but I was getting better. And I was in my truck and the energy came around what I call the back of the head. It was trapped somewhere at the base of my neck, and then this particular song came on the radio, and I felt this pulsing in my forehead like somebody had their index finger pushing inward, and it released around the back of the head, and that's when I went into what I call hyperspace, Star Wars, where the lights of being in hyperspace, hyperwarp, when you're going fast through the galaxy, the stars come flying by you. That happened, and then I had a black dot in my vision that remains, and things have not been the same since then. Things have been much better. But the first 2 years while I was living at my mom's house, I can talk about the excruciating pain all day. I mean, it was very physically painful to deal with the knots. And the energetic movement upward. But after it got around the back of the head, things have improved significantly, and I feel very, very good today. I feel like I'm of service to other people, and I feel happy most all the time today. But there were some trials and tribulations leading up here, and then I still go through challenges, but nothing like the first 2.5 years. I mean, the first 2.5 years, I think it could have gone either way. Like, I could have died or I could still be here, but it was like a flip of a coin, really. There were a lot of things that happened, and I'm just incredibly grateful to be here today. That's the short story.
Well, we're incredibly grateful to have you here. And so are the many people that are in the prisons, the jails, the law enforcement officers that have to take care of them, the law enforcement people that have to take them off the street and put them in that incarceration, the firefighters, the ambulance drivers. I mean, you name it. Even the dispatch, the 9/11 dispatch people.
Oh, yes.
They can learn how to ground. And, all of these people, I think, are going to get incredible benefits from you and your experience, Michael Del Sol. And I just want to thank you in advance on behalf of all of them.
Thank you so much.
Now,
And it's a pleasure. I love working with those type folks. I mean, cops get a bad rap in our society, but the majority of these folks are hardworking people. And if somebody knocks your door down and steals your VCR, what are you going to do? You're going to call the police typically. So, somebody has to show up and do that job for $30,000 a year and get shot at and get spit on and get cursed at and get accused of being racist, even if they're not. I mean, they put up with a lot of crap. And we need to step back and say, hey, this is an unenviable job. It's a violent job. It's a hard job, and we just expect they're going to do it. And we need to understand this is not an easy job for anybody. It really isn't.
I mean, anybody that's been a parent for little kids or even a kindergarten teacher, grade K through 6 or K through 12, how amazingly diverse the human species is, and some people are just here to do no good, and that is what their main focus is, and this is these people are in many cases possessed. Sometimes they just have that kind of a karma, and these are the folks that will give us the ability to learn through contrast. Learning through the contrast. So there are those that do the crime, and you can kind of see what the outcome is of that. And then there are those that try not to do the crimes, and you can kind of see what the outcomes are for that. Now, Michael Del Sol and Santara have something quite in common. Both of them are related directly to law enforcement in the country. And Santara, can you give us a little of your experience with being connected to law enforcement in Ireland and having Kundalini?
Yeah, I'm married to a policeman. He's retired now, a sergeant, a policeman. And they're called Garda Síochána in Ireland, Michael, which means guardians of the peace. So their name is Garda in Irish, but that's where in English now, but that's where it comes from. And so John worked for 30 years as a policeman and worked really hard, and he was one of the good guys, and I totally agree with you that they can have they get bad press and sometimes deserved, but more of them are good guys, an awful lot more of them. There's only a very small percentage or not. And I also so John is retired now, and my son is an active policeman, an active Garda, and he's, I suppose, 10 years a guard now. And so it's really, I was thinking as you were talking about your book, I would be interested, in that from the perspective of my son as well. It would be interesting, Michael, to read it, to have.
Well, sure. I'm going to give you a copy as soon as I get the first order. I'm going to send it over to you. I think you'll like it. And it's very practical, but I have the Tibetans at the end of each chapter. I have the folks who haven't done that before. They start with 3, and then at the end of the second chapter, they go to 5. But the last chapter of the book. They're doing 21. So I think it's good to introduce that topic. And there's a lot of things we picked up along the way. But my thought is that police officers are doing the Tibetans and they're doing a seated meditation. They're really centering before they go on shift that there are going to be different outcomes when they interact with citizens. I know that to be true. And I say that a lot, and I get a lot of raised eyebrows when people look at me askance and then look at me sideways. But more and more people are starting to listen to this now than ever. And I think it's going to make a big difference. And this is where we need to take law enforcement in my mind. And someone like your husband, John, and that's so awesome. He did 30 years. And I look back at my time, and I had the most fun when I was a police officer. I really enjoyed working that job and working with the other gentlemen and having fun. There's a lot of camaraderie you just don't get in other types of jobs. There's a lot of joking around and that tomfoolery that's fun. But that's exciting. He did 30 years. It's just incredible. And I didn't know that about him, by the way, and I didn't know that about your son, that he was involved as well. So it's tremendous.
Yeah,
really, really
he is.
good.
He's involved as well. And it's a huge responsibility, you know. I mean, it's a huge responsibility because you're coming across people who are being challenged. You're not meeting people whose lives are going well typically. So, the police are coming across people who are going through horrendous times in their lives. And we all respond to that so differently. So many of us
do. Yes, because I keep thinking, Santara, what about the notion of spiritual emergency? All the time we train police officers to look for bipolar disorder, and we train them to look for all these other things. So why don't we train them to say, hey, some people are just in a spiritual emergency right now? That type of thing. But I think as people evolve their ideas,
I think that's brilliant because I've talked to my son about that, and I used to talk to John about it, and John used to listen. My son doesn't so much. He kind of rolls his eyes, you know.
Yes.
I was sort of thinking, you know, if I had a book by a guy like you know, who was part of the whole dynamic and knows what he's talking about from the perspective of the job, like what Chrism was saying earlier, that makes a huge difference, Michael.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah,
I've done it. They can relate to me a little bit. Yeah, I think so. I think people can relate to that. They say, he's done the job, I've done the job, and that type of thing. I think so. That makes it work. And this is real, though. I mean, this is another story, Santara, I'll tell you about that I heard about here in Florida about 3 or 4 months ago now. It was sometime this last year, there was a report, and this has been authenticated, meaning that this is real. This is not scuttlebutt. It's not misinformation from the internet. I mean, this is legit. So these several police officers showed up here in Florida to a woman's house, and she was accused of child neglect or child abuse because the children were having bruises on them. So the police officers showed up, and they actually wrote this report. I mean, the 2 guys signed their names on this report and turned this into their sergeant, meaning they witnessed this. They saw all types of activity in the home that was not of this world, and that literally just happened this year. And to see a police report where they're describing those types of things happening where the children are being lifted up the walls and things like that, I mean, it's astounding to me because I know those guys wouldn't sign their name to it unless they really witnessed that. So in my mind, I think sometimes those things do happen, and oftentimes how many police officers run into situations where they're dealing with spiritual forces they don't understand. I mean, some understanding of that would be helpful, I think, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. And great respect due to those 2 men who were prepared to, you know, be ridiculed as well, Michael, because people are so skeptical and non-believing of the strange things that can occur, you know. So that was great. Yeah.
Well, with those 2 guys, right, you know, they witnessed this child be lifted up the wall and turned upside down. It's something out of a horror film from the 70s. And when they're writing that in a police report, and I believe those guys witnessed that. I don't think 2 young police officers would sign their name to something like that if it was just nonsense. So it's one of those deals where you start realizing that this isn't as common as we may think, but it certainly does happen. And so those type of things make you raise an eyebrow and just make you think, well, we're spiritual beings, and if we start treating each other that way, and if police officers understood that, I think they would approach citizens in a different way. And some citizens, like Chris said, just really don't deserve anything but rough treatment because some of them are very nasty and violent. They're shooting at the police officers. Those people are certainly not helping the situation. You know, that because realistically, I mean, we're having police officers shot in America just arbitrarily. It happened last week here in Florida. 2 deputies were sitting in a Chinese restaurant, and someone just got out of their car and shot. It just strikes me that I don't think that's anything other than possession. When it hits me, like, what would drive a person to pull their car into a parking lot and get out of that car with a firearm and go discharge the weapon at two innocent people that are fathers and members of their community? I just don't think that's not something human beings would do to each other. So I wanted to put that out there to you and Chrism, because I always think that maybe people are really possessed when these things happen. I just don't think a human being would want to do that to another person. I don't have that in my heart to understand why someone would do that. And I always think they're just being controlled, or there's some type of outside influence. Do you guys ever feel that way when you see these news reports and you see these horrific acts? You think, what the fuck were they thinking about? You think, could it be that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say most people have a form of possession going on. And some people, when you add that possession into their karmic disposition, it can be really, really, really bad. So, for instance, karmic disposition, in their past lives, they were also criminals, and so they're kind of adding fuel to the karmic fire, and so they come into this life, and there's just a continuation of that hurtful behavior. And so, yeah, it can be really, really difficult, and certainly difficult for the police officers and involved, and even the firefighters, even just the rescue people. They're getting shot at as well. As far as the metaphysics, I think with the as the Kundalini increases within the law enforcement and rescue communities, there's going to be a softer approach to the discernment and legal standing of phenomena beyond science. They can't condemn so many people of being bipolar or schizophrenic to the point where they're eliminating percentages of the police population. Pretty soon it's gonna escalate to the point where people are gonna have to start taking it much more seriously. And like Santara said, right now, those two police officers signing their name, they're not only are they risking ridicule, but they're also limiting their advancement within the department because of the erroneous responses and reactions from the MPs or the psychologists or the psychiatrists that we really try to run our democracy and our populations through. Pretty soon they're going to, either those institutions are going to have to come up to speed, which I also see occurring, but at the same time, the expression of the people on the street, the officers, the men and women that are going into these houses and actually maybe seeing a kid being drugged upside down up the side of a wall. I mean, there are some things you just cannot explain through science or through psychiatry as it currently exists. But that current standard is up for change. And it's people like you, Santara, and you, Michael, and myself, and the other people that are working, within the truthful expressions of Kundalini that are going to be the pioneers for that change. And let's see. Looks like I to go to a question here. Not a question, but I believe this is Rosemary. And hi, Rosemary, is this you?
It is me. I'm late. I just got in. I was out picking up those books we have for the seminar. So.
Well, we were totally talking about you behind your back. We were like totally talking to you. So just an FYI.
Never heard. Yeah, I was going to click on the one for.
Hello? Oops.
Thank you.
Say again?
Thank you. Wanted to remind you to tell people about the evening on Friday in Denver.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm thinking it's 7 to 9, and it will be an informal evening with the teacher and an opportunity to hear more about Kundalini, hear about the seminar, and meet some other folks. People there for the seminar, most people will be there by then. And if you can't make the seminar and you are in Denver or nearby, join us for that evening. It will be an inspiring evening.
So it's this Friday, and it's a formal event, black tie, tux, tails, and a top hat for the men. And come meet with us before we have the seminar. Maybe if you have questions you want to have answered before the seminar, then those questions can be addressed. And so I'm really looking forward to this. And Rosemary, this has been a conversation about Kundalini and law enforcement. And before your Kundalini came up, you were married to a highway patrolman, and he was a very spiritual individual. Was that not so?
That was so. I had met him after his retirement, but I know that he was very good at what he was doing and not legalistic and rigid, and he was well respected by all of the men and women on the force. He had been assistant chief and could have been chief if he wanted, but he chose not to do that. And I could see when I was with him in retirement meetings that were with the other men and women how much he was respected. It was a delight to see. So he was a good person. He was also clear about, he didn't waffle on, he just had maybe an intuitive sense of how to do things and what was the right thing to do. So.
And he built that Octagon house, as Michael Del Sol mentioned. He built the Octagon house, and what a cool piece of architecture that is.
Yes, and very creative. Very creative. So he was a very creative person. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Rosemary. And once again, we are having a seminar in Denver, Colorado this weekend. Contact Rosemary at 651-329-9615. And I'm looking for Mohan's number here, and I don't see it. Can you give Mohan's number? Oh, I think that's it right there. Area code 720-934-1751, right?
I'm not near it, but I was heading to it, but now I'm...
Is that you, Mohan?
That's correct, Master. That's correct, Master.
Yeah. There's your name. So we have an army of limousines waiting to pick everybody up from the airport. Mohan's handling that. And
right.
we have a few private jets waiting, and so try to make it there if you can. And I want to thank both you, Mohan, and Rosemary for the hard work that you're doing to get this going. I know that it's a lot of pressure, so I really want to let you know that it is much appreciated, and thank you in advance from those who are attending. Okay.
Thanks to you, Master.
And we give, of course, all thanks go to the Kundalini, of course. All right, so I am going to go ahead and put both you and Rosemary into the blue here, and do that there. And Michael Del Sol, I'd like to keep you on board here, if that's okay with you. And of course, Centara. So we're coming into this is labeled Rosemary, but I don't think it's Rosemary.
Whoops.
This is Indra, I believe.
Yes.
Hi, Indra.
Hi, Chrism.
Thank you for those
Can you
kind
hear me?
comments. Yes, ma'am, I can hear you. Indeed.
Thank you for
Indeed.
what?
Thank you for the kind comments on Facebook about the. Well, you were asking questions. Kundalini automatically switched into blank verse, which is a verse that Shakespeare kind of used,
Yes. Yes.
And started laying out huge levels of information to you, but also to other people reading it. It never seems to be about one person with the Kundalini. It seems to be about anybody who is reading this needs to read it, needs to take it in, needs to incorporate it. And And I'm going to read some of that right now. I'm going to read some of that blank verse. And there are certain ways to read these things that give better levels of understanding with it. And I'll just give you the way that I read it sometimes. And it's not always the same way, not always the same time. Let's see. There it is. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. This is called the Inner Merlin. And here we go. How hast thou not understood thine inner educations from such beauteous harmony of actualized heavenly encrusted flesh? Canst thou not feel it, thine responsive gait towards redemption of thine initial soul prospectus? Unto a river's journey, from mountain glacial beginnings to seas of verdant warmth, doth not the frozen heart, through its struggles, receiveth the warming glory of her bounteous love? From where else canst thou aspireth unto the reaches of heaven's ecstasies, without enjoining into that ocean such sacrifice of selfish excess? Canst thou not hear the heavenly symphony of joyful, the cicada-filled night, as such natural voices of grace doth extrude it from thee into the wondrous vapors of radiant joy? Where within we give it our truthful destiny, such lies our divinity unscathed in its magnificence. Thou art that unborn bloom opening into that inner sun. That's what she gave. Okay.
Wow, beautiful.
That's only one way of reading it. And I was kind of joking about it at first. You're the one that started it off.
See?
She had me go back. She asked me go back again and again, making little corrections on the blank verse there. You know, instead of thine, it's got to be thy, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
So
well, we got it anyways.
Yes, indeed.
And thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. What question do you have, Indra?
Okay, so it's quite different from the conversation you guys were having. So it's about the three.
We can call 911 and make it relevant if you want.
No,
crazy,
that's fine.
Crazy Kunalini woman in Toronto. She has a gun.
Yes.
She's naked in her front yard, Chrism.
With a gun.
The backyard.
She's naked in her front yard with a gun saying, "Don't look at me. Don't look at me or I'll shoot you."
Oh my God, it's funny. Okay, so something new's been happening for the last couple weeks. It was this subtle throughout the process, but I noticed 2 weeks ago. I was lying on my bed and up the left channel, an energy shoot through like a jet through my nose down the right, and it's intertwining. I know it's called the Ida Pingala Shushumna. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
And it's crisscrossing, like, you know, it's described. But I've been in a drunken state and full of joy, and I really do feel like a child. I am in the rain. I'm bathing in the rain. I'm playing in the snow. I feel different.
Snow angels?
What do you have to? Pardon me?
Snow angels? Are you making snow angels?
No, I'm just there, like, enjoying it.
You should make some snow angels. It makes a big difference. We did that in Minnesota, you know.
There's not enough snow for that.
Okay.
It was very, like, a little, like, not much. But I'm out there. I'm lying on the earth. It's been we had a warm weekend, Canada. It's been warm. It's been nice. I'm in the earth. I'm spending my time there. It's like something changed within me.
Can you say A somewhere in there? Say A.
You know, A?
A? I think that's that's a strong progression, eh? That's a strong progression for Kundalini.
Right, eh?
Yay, eh? What do you say to the A? You go, oh, A.
I'm telling you, we Canadians can't breathe if they don't use A.
So,
I'm telling you, we can't breathe properly if we don't finish the sentence with A. It's an incomplete sentence.
But for your Kundalini, I think that's a very, very good positive sign and symptom of progress. And don't try to control the drunkenness is my suggestion to you. However, if you are in a public venue like shopping or surrounded by people in a restaurant, things like that, you either may want to stay away from doing those activities or ask your Kundalini to tone it down while you are there doing those activities. Because some of us have to shop. Some of us, in this current day and age, we got to go to the store to get the food to put on the table. And so you can ask her to tone it down a little bit, but really, as much as you can, allow that expression to come forward. Feel drunk.
Okay.
Look at every blade of grass. That's what I would do. I'd go outside and I'd sit on the lawn and I'd just look at every blade of grass. I'd look at all the small creatures. I'd feel the compression of all of that amazing Amazon jungle in the lawn under my foot, my bare foot when I'd walk on it.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was leaving light imprints. Really get into it. Really invest yourself into it, and don't.
I really got into it. That's all I'm doing.
Good.
Like I do go shopping, but I'm home like in no time, and I'm coming back to it.
Excellent.
Like today I've been, in the park out back for like at least 3-4 times.
It's really easy. It's really easy. I had one student who, in the middle of his university, he climbed up a tree and wouldn't come down for days. He just wouldn't come down.
That's what it feels like, actually.
Exactly. This guy had the Krishna smile going, 100-watt smile. And you could see the beauteous radiance around him and how he was filled with grace, filled with divinity. And everybody around him down at the base of the tree was going, no, you come on down. And they brought his mom and dad in. Come on down, son.
Wow.
They brought the law enforcement in. Come on down, son. It's okay. 0091. Yeah, we got some guy in a tree. Yeah, he's where?
Yeah.
In a tree.
Well, that's exactly what it feels like, honestly.
What's he doing in the tree? We not quite sure.
I'm hanging out.
So the thing is, though, what I'm saying is, I don't want you to go that far with it. Don't endanger your freedom. Yes. He went straight from the tree to the psych ward. Straight from the tree to the psych ward. And he didn't have anything but a very, very strong expression of Kundalini. That is what he had. He was not sick. He was not ill. He had a very strong awakening at that moment, and it's still with him to this day. He's moved away from that country. He's moved to a couple other countries between then. Now he's in a different country, and he is, he's kind of a genius. He's brilliant at some of this computer work that he's doing. And I've met him in person, and he's a very, very, very kind, loving soul. I mean, so kind that while he was in the drunken state with the Kundalini, he gave away his brand new car to a homeless person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like $25,000 car to a homeless person. What's that, eh?
Wow.
What? Yeah, so.
I said I gave away money.
Well, yeah, but don't give away your car unless, you really feel compelled to.
No, I need my car.
The drunken state is a very positive state to be in. So really, really surrender to that. Let that just take you over.
Right.
It's very important. It's very important to understand that. It is the actual consciousness of Kundalini. How do I say it? It's mixing into the characteristics of the personality of the individual, taking over the psychology of the ego. She's taken over the psychology of the ego. She's, this is what is that needs to happen. And I've noticed you, Michael Del Sol. I've also noticed you to be in a semi-drunken state as well. Can you corroborate that?
Well, not right now. I don't feel that way. But when I first met you, it was like that 24/7. Really, much of 2011 and 2012, I can relate to that idea of being in a drunken state because I'm a very focused person, and I wake up at 5 in the morning and I start teaching online. I do the things I do now, but for that year and a half that I was with my mom, almost 2 years, I just didn't have any idea that I even needed to go do any work. It was a matter of just healing my body and my mind and moving the energy. That's all I could do at that time. And so I accept that, and yes, I know I was in a drunken type of state. I have video of me from 2011 and 2012 that I found on a thumb drive recently. I'm looking at the video, and I was showing it to some other folks here, and they said, "Man, you look like you were wasted." I said, "No, I wasn't wasted at all. I mean, that's just how I was walking around. I mean, I had that look, that glassy eyes, like I'm drunk look, but I wasn't drinking, and I wasn't smoking marijuana, and I wasn't doing anything of the sort. I was basically just living off no food and running all night. But I looked really drunk in those videos.
You should admit it,
groggy
Michael.
type of drunken look.
Michael, you were hunting pythons. I know you were.
Deer. I was chasing deer. But I would have hunted a python. At that time, I mean, I just did things that were so different. I was just so obsessed with climbing in the beginning. I just loved climbing anything, trees, houses, buildings, that type of thing. But yeah, drunken stupor, that was me really. When I look at those videos, I mean, it looks clear that if I saw the video today, I would think, man, I was drinking, but I know I wasn't. But I can relate to that. What causes that, Chris? I mean, what do you think the impetus is behind that? Why do we look drunk when we're going through it? Yeah,
it's that merge. It's that merging of the psychology. She's taking over your emotional control. She's taken over your psychological control. She's taken over the mental control. She's really inserting herself in a very controlling way into the 5 bodies of the human expression, and you begin and it's a way of acclimating yourself, or it's like a way of forcible acclimation that allows you to express more of your natural qualities. You got to remember that Kundalini is a natural quality. It's a natural development for people to have. And so when she comes into you that way, she's really forcing you outside of the societal paradigm and into the natural, primal paradigm of what you are, who you are, how you are, where you are, why you are doing this, why you are the person you are. And she's really inserting her natural tendencies of, like, so for you, climbing. We are hominids. And hominids naturally brachiate. I don't know if anybody knows what brachiate means, but that means if you ever watch those old Tarzan movies and he's swinging on a vine and connecting with another vine, or he's swinging off a branch and catching another branch, that's called brachiating. And these are natural movements for the hominid creature to go through. But even so is the running. So is the like when I was naked in the forests and I felt very, very primal. I felt very grounded and very in tune. I could smell tremendously. I could hear tremendously. See. I could see the smallest movements. And when I was walking with the deer, they're consciously aware of lions, of coyotes. They don't really care about snakes. Snakes don't bug them at all. Other deer, it's a very natural, primal space to be in, and it's really grounding you in the hominid body. It's really taking you out of that egotistic science is everything type of paradigm and bringing you back into the natural space of where you're supposed to be as you have the Kundalini. And you notice that she backs that off a little bit. Like right now, Michael, I don't see you as being drunk, whereas, Indra, I wouldn't let her behind the wheel.
Yeah, it was a phase. I mean, yes, but it was a long stage. I mean, I went through months of that where I just felt like I was out of my mind, out of my body. I wasn't fully present, and I just didn't have any concerns. It's strange to look back, for almost 2 full years. It never struck me that, each month I'm accumulating child support debt and I don't have a job. These were not concerns for me at the time. At that time, my concern was figuring out what the hell is going on and how I can learn how to manage what's going on in my body and in my mind. And it's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you guys remember that from undergraduate school, there's a pyramid, and this guy named Albert Maslow came up with a hierarchy of needs, and at the bottom of the hierarchy of needs is the foundation. The foundation is food and safety and wellness and being okay in your physical vessel, and that you can't self-actualize at the top of the pyramid or do really anything else unless those basic needs are met. And at the time when I was in, I call it Kundalini crisis mode, those basic needs were not met for me, so I didn't focus on any self-actualizing things or any types of projects. It was more like get through the day and not have anything bad happen, and don't get too scared and don't lose your mind. That's what it was like.
Well, you were in the process of losing your mind. You were losing your old mind, your old paradigm of what is and what isn't, right? And that's part of what she does during those Kundalini crisis periods. Those crisis periods, and for many people, especially, as you describe yours, is really all about rapid, majestic change within the individual. And you were just saying, I was trying not to lose my mind. Well, you were losing your mind.
But I was trying to manage it the best way I could.
You were supposed to be.
Well, I had a different experience. I remember the trees reading books to me and did different things happening. I wasn't fully in the vessel the way I am now. It was different. I mean, I feel like I was not fully in my vessel. I say that, and I don't have any real proof where I can show that I wasn't fully in my vessel, but I just look back at my memories and what my mom told me and then the video I have, and I think to myself, I wasn't fully present the way I am now. And I remember it was about the end of the second year, I really came back into my body, and I started saying, okay, I'm kind of back now. But there was a time where I think my body was healing. My physical shell was healing so much that it just maybe gave me anesthesia or something. I don't know. But it took me out of the equation the way I am today. Right now, I'm not the same as I was when it first started. I was literally sidelined by this. When I say sidelined, I didn't work for 2 years. I didn't interact with people. I didn't talk for 6 months. I mean, there was a lot going on there, and I know some of you guys can relate. And it's interesting. I see these folks on YouTube like Teal Swan and these wannabe new agey people, and they're saying, "Oh, we activated our Kundalini at a conference over 2 days, and now my life is different." And I keep thinking to myself, that doesn't really jive with my experience. You know what I mean? But it's whatever. I mean, people say all these things about the Kundalini, but really, I think it's one of those things where a lot of these folks don't know what they're asking for. They don't know the amount of physical work that's coming. They don't know the amount of psychological distress that's coming. They have no understanding of what's really coming when they say that. But it's one of those things where I didn't ask for it either, Chris. I mean, I really, at least in my memory of this lifetime, I was not interested in any of these things. It came on me, and I came on it. At that point, it became me. But I wasn't seeking this, and I think that's a different part of my story, is that I didn't have any interest in anything metaphysical or spiritual until this started happening. You know, the medicine's dead in my senses to anything like that. I was on the psychotropic medicines for almost 15 years, and they really deadened any type of spiritual interest I would have had. And I think that's a big problem in our society, where people are on so many psychotropic drugs today, and a lot of people are in spiritual emergencies, and we just put them on drugs, and bad things happen. And these people would be fine if we would just have a context for understanding how Kundalini can advance through the system and how it can come to fruition in the human body. If the Western society had some context of that, a lot of people who are suffering and being given medicines right now could be really treated more in a humane way and given the opportunity to blossom and to become who they want to be. There's just not much information. But then I started thinking, Chrism, this is a question for you. Is that part of the fucking challenge? I mean, is that part of the challenge that the information's not out there? I mean, is it supposed to be hard? That type of thing.
Well, first of all, I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, if you have small children present or teenagers, or you yourself are sensitive to specific levels of verbiage, this show is rated R. It's restricted, and you must be accompanied by your parent if you are 17 years old or younger.
This is true.
What's the question?
I apologize for my gratuitous use of profanity there. Sometimes that just slips out. And I'm more comfortable with profanity now more than ever. Listen. I think it's funny.
Everybody knows all the best movies are R-rated, so don't worry. No worries. No adult wants to go to a G-rated film unless they got kids.
And I make no claims to be a spiritual person. I mean, it's one of those things where I curse, and I think I'm on a spiritual path of some sort. But I'm if there's a school of hard knocks of spirituality, that's where I am. For real.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good, Michael. No worries. Okay, what's the question again?
The question is, hey, Chrism, the question is this. I mean, there's no context in our society for understanding Kundalini awakening within the human system. Really, no one knows about this. You can go to MDs, you can go to doctors about any type of holistic care, and almost no one in our society knows about this. Is that part of the challenge for us? Is that it was more of a challenge for you when it started because the internet didn't exist. But is that part of the Kundalini equation, that it's supposed to be difficult and there's supposed to be limited information? You're supposed to have to go inward instead of looking to external sources. I mean, it hits me to ask you, is that part of the Kundalini challenge that it presents?
Well, obviously it is, because that's exactly how it is for most of us. You learn to shut your mouth about it. It teaches you not to brag. It teaches you not to try to tell you that, I was working at an MD's office, and I was having some Kundalini phenomena, and, I kind of sideways mentioned, well, if you got a patient that comes in and starts, exhibiting this or that, what do you do? And the PA, the physician's assistant at the time who I was talking with, he just says, oh, well, those people are do-do-do-do-do-do-do. So you just know not to talk to them. You just know not to spill your guts to the medical community. Now, because I was working in the medical community, I learned firsthand that no matter how bad things get, it's going to be worse inside of a psych ward, like 5 or 6 times worse. And so it's once again, it's learning through contrast. The contrast teaching here being those who have it and those who don't. Most people don't have it. Some of us do have it. And how do we organize ourselves within that understanding? And I'm going to go to another question here. Yes, I agree with you. It is about a contrast teaching, and she does put us here purposefully for that teaching. And it is hard within this society for people to come into that level of clarity. And I'm going to jump on over here to this questioner here. Area code 347466. Hi, you're on the air with Chrism. How may I help you?
Hey, Chrism, how's it going?
Hi, who's this?
This is Dan Gleesack. I'm calling from Bergen, New Jersey.
Hi, Dan. How are you?
I'm okay.
How can I help you today, sir?
Well, I just wanted to know what your favorite strain of marijuana is.
Oh, this is one of those calls. Okay, thanks. My favorite strain of marijuana. None. It's no strain. It's the strain. It's the strain that you turn into rope.
Yeah, the hemp strain, right? George Washington grew hemp, Chrism. He was a big grower of hemp.
I mean, we make ropes out of hemp. I mean, I just like, don't get me wrong. I've tried marijuana. I've tried it. I even inhaled it once or twice, and it wasn't. I didn't feel like it was damaging at all. my Kundalini didn't come to me in a vision and say, "Oh my God, you smoked that! What on earth were you doing?" You know, she didn't do that. You know, I mean, it goes back to your question, Mike. Is that, you know, here we are in this drug-infested, sexually infested society, and how do we matriculate Kundalini into that society? And sometimes, you know, people need to do ayahuasca to get a better view of what's going on within. Sometimes they need to smoke pot. Sometimes they need to do some of these other things. Alcohol, you know, I don't see a lot of use for alcohol because of the entity element with it. But some people have to do alcohol. You know, you kind of do what's available in your country to do, what the laws and the, you know, what the statutes say you can do inside that country. You know, in the Roman civilization, you can pretty much do anything you wanted. You know, you can, you know, but in the United States, you know, you can't do anything that you want. Now, there are things that you can do that can get you there. You can, you know, there are certain plants and seeds and leaves and stems that grow indigenously here in the United States that you can use for that interior view. And if she directs you to do that, if she, not your ego, but the sacred feminine Kundalini mother directs you to do some of those things, such as the ayahuasca, then you can. I mean, she will download the information in there for you. Marijuana is perfectly fine once in a while. Nicotine, if it's from natural tobacco, is fine once in a while. To answer the gentleman's question, my favorite strain. My favorite strain.
Northern
Lights
is the only thing that comes to mind, Chris. Remember Northern Lights? You hear about that?
No.
Skunk. What else comes to mind? That's so popular when you hear about Northern Lights for some reason. That
I never had money to buy it, so you know I had to you know I grew it. So I guess the favorite strain would be the Chrism strain.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, you know the Chrism the Chrism strain, but yeah, that question's kind of a joke. You know, what's your favorite strain of marijuana? So whatever. And it looks like Mohan has a question here, so I'm going to bring Mohan back on. Yes, sir.
Cool.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mohan. Nanda.
Hello, Master.
Yes,
so
sir.
I heard Michael saying about having black spots in his vision. Is that right, Michael?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, he has a perpetual. He has a perpetual wormhole in his vision.
It's in my physical vision, and I had a lot of issues with that. In the beginning, it wasn't just that though, Mohan. In the beginning, when I first would call Chrism in 2012, it was so bad. I'd look at my computer screen in front of me. I have a big computer screen, and the right lighting, it would almost obstruct my view. I had so many things in my physical vision, these shapes and different types of. They look like symbols, many of these things, and squiggly lines of all sorts. And so I went to the eye doctor several times. I said, do I have floaters? And Chrism said, no, probably you don't. And I went to the doctor anyway, and they said, no, you don't have floaters. But that was just part of my early story where I just had so much in my physical vision, and a lot of that is cleared up now. With the black dot does remain.
Yeah. From my childhood, I had one dark spot in my vision, but in the last 3-4 months, the number of dark spots have increased like 3 or 4, and it makes me crazy. Like if I'm looking at something, I can't see it properly, and I don't want to go to the doctor.
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't know if that's a bad idea. I mean, you might want to get it checked out. And the eye doctor's pretty cheap, really. I paid like $40 or $50 to do a little examination on me, and I let him dilate my eyes and those things. But I wanted to make sure I didn't have floaters. But once he said he didn't see anything like that, and of course, when I described my symptoms, Mohan, they told me I had a detached retina. So they'll tell you right away that the sky is falling, but it was none of those things. And so I felt better after I went, just to make sure it wasn't physiological. And an eye exam is not very invasive. But it's one of those deals where, I had a lot of those type things happen. And I would call Chrism and say, Chrism, what the hell is going on? And Chrism would tell me things back then that would piss me off, so they'd make me angry. And I would think of, he told me one time to put them on a rose and make the rose go away. And I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? But he was trying to tell me things that would help, but I wanted him to fix it, and I didn't want to do the work. And the work to fix it, with me going in and fixing issues with my own fears and other things that I didn't want to face. And when I first met Chrism, I wanted him to be the father. I wanted him to be the daddy and to fix everything for me and make it good. And I had to get through that stage, and I used to get angry with Chrism and yell and scream, and he kicked me out of the group, and a lot of things happened like that because I was being like a demanding baby to him. You remember that? It's true.
I do. I do remember that. I remember my Kundalini telling me that I was not allowed to tell him what it was.
Okay.
And I kept asking him the same question, and he wouldn't tell me. I was so angry. But it's weird. I look back now and think, I spent like days just cursing Chrism's name and being so angry with him. But that was the Kundalini. It was something that was happening that needed to happen in my body and in my mind to move something through. It served a process. Even when I was angry with Chrism early on, it served a process to move the Kundalini through my system. I mean, there's something to it, Chrism. You must admit.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And Mohan.
And you don't want to be the scapegoat, you don't want to be the target, but sometimes when you are the target, it helps people, doesn't it? In some weird way.
Yes. It was. We had a coast-to-coast separation, I felt. Glenn, describe your symptom again, my friend.
So, from my childhood, what I had was one small little dark spot in my right side of my vision, and I can see it only if I close my left eye. I can see that dot moving from wherever I'm looking. And since last 3-4 months, those dark spots have increased, and I see something like microorganisms, like small white ones, the things which we see when we rub our eyes hard. Those things, they always stay in my vision.
Oh. I'm afraid we're going to have those eyes removed and sacrificed. We're going to have to sacrifice them for science, so that we can splice them and look at them. It's okay. You can get a new pair at Walmart. I think they're on sale. So. No, Mohan, that's perfectly normal. Now, any ophthalmologists or optometrists go, oh, those are floaters. Those are just floaters. Those are pieces of dust that got into your lens of your eye. They're floating around. If you lived in Africa, I'd be looking at eye worms. They have worms that go into your eye, and you can literally see them moving around in your eye, and you can see them actually with the plain eye. You can look in the mirror and go, oh yeah, there's that worm, and they can occlude the vision. And they move. They move on their own. It's not Kundalini, is what I'm saying. But for you, Mohan, because you have the Kundalini, and your grace is very easy to feel. There's Kundalini signatures to those little spots, and the fact that you're collecting those little spots should also tell you that this is more of a Kundalini type of significance than your rational mind is going to want to accept.
From my rational
I'll tell you
mind,
more.
I stopped asking questions.
I'll tell you more
Master.
about it this weekend when I see you. I'll tell you a lot more about that.
Okay. When I went to the doctor as a child, the doctor said that you're making it up, and I just started to ignore it.
Well, that's a good sign that he didn't see anything, Mohan, because it was the same with me. The ophthalmologist said, we're not seeing anything. This is in your head. And that's when I said, no, it's not. You're not seeing anything. You don't know what you're looking for. But it gave me a little relief that I knew my retina wasn't detached or something like that.
Yeah.
Your eyes are invaluable. Yeah.
From the past year or so, I just whatever happens to me, from my rational mind, I stopped asking questions why. Because if something is happening to me, it must be happening for some reason. That's how I'm telling myself, and I'm just ignoring these things.
Well, there's definitely a good reason for what's happening with your eyes right now. So, really, really, really understand that everything is going well. Nothing is going wrong.
Okay. And talking about the drunk.
Darkness
Sorry?
does not always mean evil, and light does not always mean good.
That's true, because we used to teach about the seed. Remember you said the seed starts out as a black spot or a dark spot, and the seed can grow into something green?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Mohan, you had a comment to make about being drunk as well?
Yes. As Indra was mentioning, so sometimes suddenly when I'm walking somewhere, I get so drunken out of nowhere. Like I'll be like moving around like a drunkard guy, and I was like, "What's happening?" And it stops after a few minutes. And
hunting pythons. Hunting pythons. That's what we're going to call that. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, often when people reach that stage of the Kundalini in India, this is where they remove their clothing and they just begin to live in the jungle as a sadhu, right? This is when they become very, very primal, and the word I'm going to use is eschew. They eschew society, which means they just take themselves completely out of society and move to Ireland. And kidding. No, they start to live in the jungle, and I could really feel the pull of that. I don't know, Michael, if you also felt that when you were running at night barefoot through the wilds of Florida.
Yes,
I really
absolutely.
felt the compulsion to be natural in the world and to just stay with that,
I felt that, guys, very much so. And like what Indra was saying earlier about going shopping, things like that were such an intrusion when I was going through the drunkenness, because it was like absolute in loveness, I think, and it was primal and it was pure. And I remember shopping in a shopping centre and wanting to hug everybody, and I had this smile on my face and I felt dizzy. It was just amazing. And I remember one time being so overcome with just not being there really in my body either, and having to run into the bathroom and just, laugh and kind of go into devotion. And it was really like being drunk. And it was pure happiness and bliss. And it's amazing to me when I look back on that. It's like so strange.
It's interesting.
And it's like what Mike...
It's interesting that you have the reference points for being drunk.
I'm not the only one now,
No, you're not.
But no, much better than being drunk actually, because no hangover, guys. But yeah, but it's amazing, isn't it? That and it is primal, and I would have given anything not to have to stay in the doing the shopping and doing all those tedious things. And I love being naked in nature and all of that,
Yeah. And you were on the island of Corfu when this first hit you, right?
Oh, I was, yeah, but this was after Corfu now. I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
The island of Corfu, and I don't remember. I was there for over a week, and a couple of weeks after that, my feet didn't hit the ground. I was very, I was in bliss, and it's only afterwards people told me. My sister, who was on holiday with me, told me I wasn't me at all. I was very, very different, and actually, she would have said like I was screwed all the time.
Yeah, I think that island had a lot more to do karmically with you and your Kundalini too. Corfu. There's a certain tribe of a Grecian tribe that I can't think of the name that was on Corfu at the time, and I think that had something to do with it too. But anyway, wow, okay. We've got 20 minutes left for questions. I'm going to put everybody through here.
Oh, my goodness. Any questions on the chat room, Chrism? Can you go have a look just while I'm...
Let's see. We have, if Chrism isn't real, then what is he? Let's see. That would be from me. I was just kidding. Sound is good. What are the chances, especially in the South, for me to run across... Oh, that's Michael. Oh, my God. No, we're good. We're clear. We're clean.
Okay. Well, first question, these are not from the group, is, do children see auras?
Can we see auras?
Children. Do children see them?
Oh, sure. Sure, absolutely. Over.
Okay. Next question. Are people with negativity attracted towards Kundalini people? Kundalini activated
Sometimes.
or awake?
Sometimes it's like Michael was telling us, you go through a lot of mood swings, and some of those mood swings point you in the direction of negativity. And Michael and Mohan, your microphones are hot, so just so you know, you're on the radio.
I am.
Indeed. And so, you can be negative and have Kundalini for a while, sure. Especially if you're not being accepted by it, if your family's like kicking you out, if your church is ostracizing you, or what do they call that when they kick you out of their church, like the Amish?
Excommunicate.
Excommunicate.
They excommunicate, right? They can't accept anything from your hand anymore. You can't live with them. You can't eat with them. You can't see them. That can make a person very negative. A person that has the Kundalini and then tries to put out the Kundalini fire with alcohol, that can make them very negative. If a person is having the Kundalini and is becoming infested with negative entities that are feeding them a lot of negative inner dialogue, that can make you very negative. So absolutely, you can have negativity and be Kundalini. Yes, over.
Okay, but I think the question is asking as well, are people with negativity that aren't Kundalini people attracted towards Kundalini people? So negative people, are they pulled into the sphere of Kundalini?
Sometimes, yeah. Like, these are called petty tyrants. Sometimes the Kundalini wants to train the person that has the Kundalini by putting them in close proximity, with people that are tyrannical. Or, like, sometimes as a teacher, I can be very, very tyrannical with some of the people. And it's because I feel like being tyrannical that day. It's that there's a level of teaching within tyranny that really nourishes tolerance. There's a level of teaching within tyranny that really engenders anger management. There's a level of teaching within tyranny that supports forgiveness, and especially unconditional forgiveness. And you can be unconditionally forgiving without being a doormat, and so there are these teachings within these qualities that Kundalini will attract to the Kundalini awakening person. This happened to me quite often. I was given managers or bosses or close friends that were very, very tyrannical. I mean, to the extreme. I mean, people that are should be on medication. It's just screaming at you. You're just like, oh my God, I'm just going to leave the room now and hide in the bathroom. And so once you know that Kundalini is bringing these people to you, you can begin to make different choices and have different understandings about what is actually occurring and why. And so, these people can be attracted to the Kundalini, or the Kundalini can attract them to the awakening individual. Over.
Thanks, Chrism. So the idea is that you're trained then to respond in a way that you wouldn't have done before Kundalini. Is it that you're somebody is being cruel? Or, yeah. And once you have that understanding, that's not the right word, but the Kundalini expects us to behave differently, to put into practice different responses. So she will keep these tyrants doing these, we'll say, tests all the time, at work or at home, or...
Say again?
So the Kundalini is keeping these people testing us, so that we are growing, isn't it? And
we're
responding
growing.
in a different way, is
Constantly
yeah,
growing.
Yeah.
Growing. And this happens a lot in marriages too. The Kundalini arranges a person to be married with a tyrant. And eventually that person's going to move out of that need for that level of education or karmic redemption. That will mix in too. And then that person will probably end the marriage. Happens quite a bit.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks, Chrism. So the next question is about a dream. This person had a dream. I was going in auto. Oh, that's a car. Okay, let me start again. This person had a dream. Yesterday in the dream, I was going in a car for an official function. I did not know the exact address. I found that I had no money. I had no cell phone either. I stopped nearby a vendor shop run by a lady. I asked her to give me her cell phone so I could call my daughter and ask the cell number of a friend. She obliged. I asked for some money. She gave me 20 rupees. After receiving the money, I checked my pockets and there was a lot of cash. So I gave her back the 40 rupees. In the morning, I realized that the lady could be a goddess in disguise of a poor lady. What's your opinion?
Sure. If that's what came to you, then yeah, you can look at that and you can give some service or give some money to a person that has the quality of the resonance that lady had in the dream. Sure, absolutely. Over. Stand by.
Thanks, Chrism.
Vicky Vaughn has a question on the chat room, and she is saying, I've been dealing with vertigo, and I guess it began after having meditations where I've seen a guru far off but was pushing energy through my lower chakra till the whole lower body began vibrating and shaking. That could be actually Kundalini's response to seeing the guru far off in the distance, because she's basically telling you that you don't need that. Here, let me shake you up a little bit. Boom. So now, if the guru is somebody that you want to see or you haven't seen, or kind of look at it and see what it's saying to you. If is the guru a Kundalini guru? Is he Kundalini active himself? That may change the interpretation of the dream. But for the most part, you were doing well by just pushing the energy through the lower chakra. And I would add that you might want to say, I give myself to you, my Kundalini, as you do that. And that can help you as well. So the other thing that just popped into my head as I was saying these things is that Kundalini is that guru far off. She is that. Sacred masculine is that. He is that. And so the fact that you're doing the one, you're seeing it far off in the distance, and the body is shaking and vibrating, and she's allowing you to push energy through it, then you're doing well on both ends. Over. Go ahead, Amelia.
Can my relative's karma have an effect on my karma?
Sometimes. Incarnate in family groups sometimes have shared karma. So, for instance, if you're having Kundalini and you're born into a family where all the children in the family are being molested by the father, and there's a sexual molestation going on for years and years and years, well, maybe they won't have the Kundalini, but maybe you do. And so your karma and their karma have a shared quality, even though it's not for the same thing. Over.
Thanks, Chrism. Practicing, this is from the group, practicing Kundalini can adversely affect other members in a house. Is this so? Do they get
Yes.
negative energies or entities too?
Yeah. Entities can affect other people. I mean, that's just the bottom line. It's like when you go into a pub and you partake constantly or a lot of alcohol, and you attract certain kinds of entities into your system. When you come home, if you have poor anger management or you have poor emotional control, you can literally beat your wife or beat your kids because you have entity entanglement guiding you to do that. So definitely the entities can indirectly affect you in that way, but they can also directly affect you. And entities can come into your place and they can just start stealing shit. Pardon my French or Swahili. They can take your keys, hide your keys. Well, if you have to do something that day at that time and you can't find your keys because the entity has taken your keys or hidden your keys, well, what you have done through another interaction with other people has been stymied for that amount of time. Of course, that amount of time could have been, saving you from a serious accident, that type of thing too. So there's a quasi legitimacy to it. If you have Kundalini and you're living in a shared roommate environment, and those people have lots of fears, and like most people do, and your Kundalini attracting Kundalini entities can play off of their fears, can amplify their fears, but the entities are there mostly for you, not for other people. That's why you can stand next to somebody with entities in the grocery store and they're not going to really bother you because they're not there for you. They're there for that person, that one person. In many cases, Kundalini entities are very specific in who they are allowed to interact with. Over.
Thanks, Chrism. I remember just in response to that, years ago at the beginning, I was in a mall and it was one of these experiences where I became so aware of entities that were around the place and they followed me out into the car. And I remember getting home, I was actually petrified. I was really afraid that they were going to, John wasn't Kundalini active and my kids, and that they could come in and just, jump into them, I suppose. And I remember writing to you at the time and asking you, and you said the biggest risk there was my fear, because I was so fearful that I was creating the potential for them to cause more trouble than they could if I wasn't fearful. And so fear is huge, isn't it? That we don't feed them with that.
Yes,
is this true?
That's absolutely true. Absolutely true.
And I remember as well the last time, that I had the entity experience relatively recently. I knew that those entities, my Kundalini gave me to know those entities were just for me. I knew that they weren't going to affect my family. And I knew that, or other people, until I was going to meet a bunch of Kundalini people in Ireland, and we had arranged to meet them. And then I was given to know through you, Chrism, and through my own Kundalini, that there was that potential that entities could have affected those people. But that was the only time. That's
the same time with that seminar, the first seminar we did in Ireland, where that guy came in and I allowed him in, my big mistake, my karma. And, so festooned with entities that they were totally taking him over, and he was doing weird things in the room where everybody was and drawing focus, and people became really focused, and the entities were just really collecting on these other people there. And they can jump. Within a Kundalini context, they can jump.
And yet I wasn't affected, so it wasn't my time, Chrism, for that interaction.
You weren't affected, and other people weren't affected either, but other people were. There was about maybe a little less than a quarter of the people there were affected, and there was like 27 people there or something. So it wasn't a small gathering.
It's a little bit like, though, we've met other people, Kundalini people, along the way with entities, like, it's okay to say because we've spoken about them before. Vincent has had them, and he was at the seminar in Berlin, and his entities were just for him. Yeah.
They didn't jump at all. No. And then, and then we were also, at the seminar in Minnesota, where these two women came in, and one woman had just lost her husband, and the other woman had just come out of the psych ward, and their entities didn't spread to anybody there either.
Okay, so moving on. Actually, can we move on, Chrism, or are we done?
Please.
I think we might be finished.
Well, we got 5 minutes. 5 minutes left.
Okay, so this is from the group. This person was having a dream when all of a sudden my eyes closed and I saw a small snake circling around my head with the buzzing sound, and I had sensations at the back of my head. I prayed Mother to help, and when I opened my eyes, the snake had vanished into my head. Can you comment on that? The snake was the mother.
The snake was the Sacred Mother, and the person was just going into fear only because he or she did not realize that the snake herself was the Sacred Mother. And it's also outlining the beginning of the halo.
Okay, thanks, Chrism.
Yeah.
Does absence of Kundalini symptoms mean it's on holiday?
No. It means that you are being given an opportunity to go on holiday yourself and process what she's already given you. It's the plateau experience, and it's written about. You get time off from all the sensations and the symptoms, and you feel kind of just normal, and you're given that time to process what you've already been given. Over.
Okay, Chrism, that's it really now.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. We got caught up. All right. Any last words for you, Miss Santara Kundalini?
I will see everybody next week. I would love to hear a little bit about the seminar, if that's possible, because it will be over and done by then. So it will be good to hear how it went. And we'll be with you. I'll be with you all in spirit. And it's a wonderful time. And I hope people who are listening who have the opportunity to go will actually go, and maybe if they had only been considering it, after this show, just go, guys, just go. You'll be so glad you did. See you all next week.
Mohan.
And thanks, Chrism and Michael and everybody.
Thank you, Tara. Mohan, do you have last words? No. Okay. I have some last words. I'd like to say thank you to all the fire personnel, the police personnel, the law enforcement personnel, those of you who do the honest, the crucial work in helping to keep our society functioning and running in as safe a way as we can possibly allow that to occur. Those like Michael Del Sol and the other Mr. T. Collins working in the jail system of Florida, all of the law enforcement and rescue-oriented personnel who are working for us and with us. I would like to give you my thanks for the efforts that you put through. And I would like to say thank you to Rosemary and Mohan for really, really putting together this seminar and that I'll be flying off to tomorrow. And to Santara Kundalini for this program. I'd like to say thank you to everybody who's in the chat room, Atlanta Seeker, Pandananda Vicky, and Victo. I'm not sure who Victo is. I'd like to even thank that caller who called in asking about the marijuana. Thank you for listening as much as you were able to listen to. And for everybody, we have videos on the YouTube network at Chrism Kundalini, and you can see them there. There's about 300 and some odd there. And for the people on Facebook, hello, everyone. Thank you for listening. For the people on the Yahoo groups, I posted this link up so you too on the Yahoo groups can also listen to us. And most importantly, I would like to say thank you to the Kundalini. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to transform and to evolve into a greater expression of what you are. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.